Okay, this is interesting. So this is an intersection of Canadian and American politics. Let's take a look. So Vivek Ramaswamy with Ezra Levant, who is the founder of Rebel News Canada.
You mentioned Trudeau in your remarks. You mentioned him again now. What do you make of the man? He's been in power for 8 years now, even though he has a minority government. He's got a coalition. Is he a cautionary tale for Americans? I don't think Americans follow Canadian politics too closely. What should an American know about Justin Trudeau?
This is a preview of coming attractions. I use that sarcastically, unless we course correct here. He's like a Klaus Schwab Jr., sort of a Klaus Schwab disciple. And I think that he is somebody who is a useful puppet. I mean, it's not that this guy is some sort of shining intellect that is somehow a visionary in his own right. He's not. He's a pawn for a managerial class, both within and outside of Canada, that uses people like him as a pawn to advance a transnational globalist agenda that has a single hegemonic view that is fundamentally skeptical of self-governance, does not believe in people's ability to govern themselves, believes in a worldview where people need to be told what the right way is or isn't to live by a small group of aristocratic elites in the back of palace halls. That was the old world European view. It's what's alive and well in Canada, unfortunately, today. And the idea that Trudeau is actually the guy calling the shots is a joke. He's just a puppet, a pawn for that deeper, what I would call permanent state. And I think that much similar to the United States, I think that that's a big part of what you're seeing happening in Canada now as well.
No, it needs another round of applause. So, I got to say, I'm extremely impressed with Vivek. I mean, he just nailed it there, talking about Trudeau, right? This is a smart guy. I know a lot of people don't trust him. I mean, he's new, right? He just kind of emerged into people's consciousness. But the guy is very smart. And again, I'm not a mind reader. He has a great understanding of, as far as I can tell, geopolitics. He understands Canadian politics, or Trudeau anyway, very well. He really nailed that one. Should we take a look at this one? This is kind of a long video. We won't watch the whole thing. Let's just get the gist of it here. Another one from Vivek. I mean, I enjoy listening to this guy.
All right. We are riding with Vivek here. And the question is what are you going to do to take on internet censorship?
Look, first thing you got to realize is it's not big tech censorship. We got to call it the right thing. The first step to solving a problem is to name it. It's government tech censorship. That's really what this mostly is. The government's using tech companies to do through the back door what the government could not directly do through the front door under the Constitution. That's illegal behavior. And so I was the first person to write about this, or along with another law professor, in January of 2021, right in the days and the aftermath of January 6th. I argued that what tech companies were doing right then, censoring speech, censoring Trump and otherwise, was at the direction of government actors that were causing them to censor content that otherwise couldn't be censored directly through the front door, and that it was illegal. Back in 2021, it was dismissed as a conspiracy theory at the time. Now we know the reality is far worse than we imagined. That's illegal behavior. I think any government bureaucrat that has instructed a private company to do something that the government couldn't do directly needs to be held accountable. So Elon did it with Twitter, released this Twitter files. I'm going to release in first year the state action files. Anytime a government bureaucrat has pressured a private company to do something the government couldn't do directly, we're going to publish it, and we're going to hold the bad actors accountable. So that's how I'm going to deal with that.
Great. That's actually a really...
See what I mean? Like, he's not just making, assertions, right? Like, Twitter files. Like, we know from the Twitter files that what he's saying is true.
Really engaged response. What I want to immediately ask is...
One more policy matter on this is Section 230 needs to be turned into an opt-in statute. So there's Section 230 C1 and C2. Forget C1 for a second. C2 says that these companies cannot be sued under state laws. There are many states that have laws that say you can't discriminate against somebody based on their political viewpoint. Section 230 C2 says, notwithstanding those state laws, a tech company can't be sued for doing it because there's a federal law that gives them a federal blanket of immunity. My view is you can't have it both ways. So if you want to be a private company, that's fine. Operate as a private company, but you don't get that liability wrapper. Just the same thing the way I do it for the vaccine manufacturers, by the way. But if you want the liability wrapper in the tech company's case, then you're bound by the same constraints as the federal government. including the First Amendment to the Constitution. So I know it was a little technical, but I wanted to give you, it's an important part of the answer.
Will you commit to going agency by agency in the federal government, everywhere from the FBI, the DHS, the National Science Foundation, DOD, State Department, agency by agency, killing every single government grant and contract related to domestic and disinformation?
Yes. That's an easy, I thought this was going to be a harder question than that.
Well,
Yes.
I finally got very impressive. I mean, okay, Poet, you're saying the guy's the great pretender. I don't know. I mean, look, I take everybody with a grain of salt, right? And this is certainly the kind of thing that I want to hear. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what's in the guy's mind, right? All I'm saying is that I like what I'm hearing, and the guy is impressive. I mean, maybe it is all bull. I don't know. That's entirely possible, right? But I enjoy the fact that we're starting to hear the kinds of things that we all have wanted to hear for a while, right? Like Polyev is very popular in Canada because he's actually saying the things that are appealing to Canadians. Canadians have wanted to hear, and that frankly, the conservative leadership has been way too much of a pussy to say for a long time, right? So we kind of been waiting for people to kind of speak sense and cut the crap, basically. So either way, it's a good sign. Just the fact that there is a Vivek Ramaswamy saying these things is an important change. It's an important turn, in the political culture. So just that in itself is a good thing. It's positive.